Mr. Beffert, and then Don Martin, and then, what do we got? Jennifer Esposito.
Supervisors, for the record, Greg Beffert. Last time I was up here, I talked about Zionism. I gave that label to Supervisor Angius, and the response I got from her, of course, first I outlined the control that the Zionist lobby in Washington has on our Congress, on our country, the power, the Jewish power in this country, and how anti-Semitism and these terms have been used and weaponized against us to shut down dissent. She, instead of refuting any of the things I said, what she said was, she didn't say, Mr. Beffert, you're wrong, I challenge what you're saying, none of those things. What she said was, I'm a proud Jew and a proud Zionist. And like, that's a good thing. Well, that depends on your definition. And see, it's important to define terms. What is a Jew? What is a Zionist? Go and do the research yourselves. Go find out. Go to my website. I talk about some of these things in addition to principles. If you go back, and which I'll talk about later, she says she's a Jew. Well, is it a religious Jew, Orthodox Jew, Ashkenazi Jew, probably ethnically, light-skinned European Jews whose ancestors never set foot in the Middle East. Never set foot there. Never set foot there. They're not the dark-skinned Sephardic or Mizrahi Jews. What about Zionists? Joe Biden's a Zionist, a proud one, right? By his own admission, didn't Joe Biden say he was a proud Zionist? Yeah. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. We have Christian Zionists. Right, Ron? There's all kinds of Zionists. And they range. Okay, so find out what they are. What he says is that if there were not in Israel, we would have to invent one to make sure our interests were preserved. I'll tell you, here's the definition of Zionism. Comes from a slide from my last presentation you can see on desertsagepodcast.com. Sorry, it's cut off here. Here's a definition you probably never heard of. You've been given the religious one, the return, the right to return, all of that. You've been given that one. That's the religious Jewish supremacist Zionism. There's the political one as well. Zionism is a racist and settler colonialist movement which opportunistically co-opts aspects of Judaism in an attempt to justify its criminal practices of apartheid and genocide of indigenous Palestinians. White supremacy is dominant within Israeli society, which privileges white-skinned Ashkenazi Jews at the expense of dark-skinned African Jews, Sephardic, and Mizrahi Jews, as well as African refugees.
Thank you, Mr. Beffert.
I'll be back.
I'm sure you will. Okay, Don Martin.